Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to the Amateur Otaku channel. We have an exciting episode to talk about DMC or Don't Make Cry. I know Joel's got on me for that. Don't Make Cry's past and future. But before we get into that, let's introduce our panelists, starting with Joel. Welcome. How's it been? How you been doing?
Thank you for having me, Jamie. Everything's been swell. It's been a minute, I think. I don't remember the last time I was on the Amateur Otaku, but
it was One Piece related.
I was about to say it might have been One Piece.
Was it been? That's how long it's been. It's been probably almost a year now, but it's been a minute.
Past due.
Yeah, it's been past due. So we get to talk a little Devil May Cry now that it's getting a new adaptation. Or a new anime adaptation. There's a past one we can talk about as well, but we'll get there. I can't wait to talk some DMC, or there is a difference. We'll go through that too, but we'll get there.
I'm glad because I honestly I didn't know there was, so I'll be happy to dive into what the difference is between the two. Yeah. But we also have Isaac with us. How's it going, Isaac?
Exhausted, but I'm good. Thank Naga for Dr. Pepper, but I digress.
That's right. Shout out to Dr. Pepper. One day we're looking for that sponsorship.
Red Bull.
Okay, add it to the list. Dr. Pepper, Red Bull, you can compete. We're willing to look at the offers. But yes, we're here to talk about the Devil May Cry anime, both the one that actually came out in 2007 and the one that will be coming out in, is it April of this year?
Yeah, April, I believe it is April.
Yes, but I was talking with Isaac after we had recorded one of the podcasts about possibly doing like a preview into Devil May Cry, and I was like, asking around, like, has anybody seen this? And it turns out, like, there's not a lot of people among our crew that have seen the OG anime. So I know Isaac, he binge watched the entire season. I've seen the season. It was like a few years ago. And so I rewatched a couple episodes today just to kind of reframe my mind and kind of get a headspace as to what has been done in anime's past and maybe have a window into what's been going on in the future. But before we get into that, I'd love to know your thoughts, Isaac, on what you thought about the original Devil May Cry anime.
It's funny because I don't know that much about Devil May Cry in terms of the games, I will admit. My sister is a fan of the Devil May Cry series, on the other hand, and I saw it with her. And from what I could gather, she liked it. She wouldn't call it a masterpiece, but she did enjoy it. It was a bit funny when you listen on the Japanese voice acting and realized that the voice actor for Dante there was the same as Sephiroth, which made it kind of
silver hair.
Well,
big sword.
Same type of hair color, I guess, and big sword.
Yeah, I mean,
Devil May Cry X Final Fantasy confirmed.
There you go.
Where the similarities stop.
Yeah. So I guess
but I did enjoy it. But I can't say due to my due to lack of previous knowledge if it's fateful or not, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm definitely in the same boat. As far as old school anime goes, because you can't compare this by modern standards because a lot of things have changed for the better, I feel like. How do you think this anime was? Because I know for me, like, voice acting, I listened to the English dub and the voice acting was kind of like a little spotty at times, I think. The animation was great. It has a really interesting aesthetic in general, and definitely feels like it was a part of like the 2000s. It did come out in 2007, but it feels very cemented in that time period. So yeah, it's been a long time ago. But yeah, what are your thoughts on that perspective, Isaac?
And I mean, it's Madhouse, and it shows that it was Madhouse that did it. If you look at the art style and all that, yes, and the quality for that matter, and from on to 07 anime, I do think it's fit. It has aged great animation style-wise, and
yes,
I will have to say, but then again, it's Madhouse, and I don't know a single anime that they have done that have looked horrible.
Yeah, it has like a kind of chaotic energy to it when it comes to the action scenes, but I feel like it's perfect because Dante is like kind of a chaotic character to follow. In this series, I think he's a little bit more grounded than he is in the games, from my limited knowledge of how he's like in the games. because he's caring for oh my gosh, her name was literally like in front of my head, now it's gone. The the little girl, I feel like her name starts with a P, Patty or something.
I don't remember.
She was a bit funny, and yes, she was. She's called Patty.
Oh, okay, nice. I remember. I just watched it 2 hours ago. Nice. But yeah, I feel like there's like you get to see a little bit of a softer side to him when it comes to like talking with Patty and kind of taking care of her. Versus in Devil May Cry in general, he's hunting demons. He's like shooting first, asking questions later kind of guy. And you still see that in the series, but it's nice to see some more depth to his character too. But Joelle, have you seen any of this anime? I know we talked about it originally. You're like, I might have seen it, I might not have seen it.
I didn't think I did, and then after watching a little bit of it, I'm like, I did watch this. It's been a long time. Like I probably watched it when it first came out, or at least close to it. Maybe not exactly when it first came out, because it was not like that was a readily available anime. I had to pirate it. No offense. I'm saying you gotta do what you gotta do. And I don't remember how the whole thing goes, the whole story was, but if just looking at him here, it definitely is based on the first game, and he looks just like that in the first game. That's just his look in the first game. Like I can tell you right there. It probably runs concurrently narratively with that game more than the other ones. There's been 4 games since, and a spin-off. Not a spin-off, alternate world version for like a game.
Yeah.
So we've come a long way since 07's version. I don't even know where we were game-wise when that came out. But I don't think they paid attention much to that stuff. It was more just the first game. So like again, I don't remember who even showed up. I'm sure Trish was in it, but I don't remember.
Yeah.
Was she?
Yeah, I think she was. She's the blonde lady, right?
Yeah.
Yep, she was in it.
Yeah. Trish was lady in it. I don't remember. She was also in it. Okay, so at that point, you've already met some of the other characters. And I believe Lady was in 3, so that's already up to 3. Anyway, again, I don't remember much about it. I do remember how liking the animation, the action.
Yeah.
That was very well paced. I liked the way it looked. I thought everything worked out well. I don't even remember if I watched it in English or in Japanese. Not gonna lie. It's been a minute. It's been a long minute. I grew up not grew up, but I was in high school when it came out, so like we're at least early, like freshman year, I think it was, or something like that. Devil May Cry, the first one came out for PlayStation, PS2. I think it was PS2, and I fell in love. I remember falling in love with that game day one. I rented the game, played it, and I'm like, I'd never seen anything like this in my life. At the time, we weren't used to stuff like that. So like, I remember the first time you could jump from one side to the other, like jump the gap, and it looked like a scene from Blade. I don't know if you watched the original Blade. Well, he does those high jumps. It's just like video games weren't doing that at the time. So I was like, I was not used to that. So that was very cool. And then he was just a cool character. He's a little different when he's younger. He's even more brash and he likes to talk a lot of shit. He's a little more tamer as he gets older, but he still likes to talk a lot of shit. He likes to rock and roll, and he got Ebony and Ivory as pistols, and I forget the name of the blade. But there's just so much to the lore, and I can't wait because it seems like this. What's his name? Adi, who's doing the new one? It seems to me like he is going to, especially if this season one, the new one does well. We're gonna see the evolution of Dante from young Dante to, I don't want to say old man, but older Dante. So I'm excited.
Maybe they are crossing over with Castlevania, considering he is the showrunner for that.
That's fair. That is fair. 2 different companies, but very fair.
They do. If he gets the rights to Bayonetta, they would be able to cross that over. I mean,
I wouldn't be against it.
Kojima, what's his name? Kojima. He says that Devil May Cry and Bayonetta is in the same universe. So.
Is it? Oh yeah, I did hear about that. I was never a big Bayonetta person, so I don't know about Bayonetta very well. But DMC, I do know.
So I kind of want to dig into, I guess, what the difference is between Devil May Cry and DMC, because I don't know.
They attempted to reboot it with It's called DMC. So Devil May Cry, it's the same. DMC just stands for Devil May Cry. They tried to get cute.
See, that's why I always use DMC, because I was like, it's the abbreviation, but now it's also something different.
Because DMC is the title. It was the title of the reboot. and it kind of changed. I actually enjoyed it. I didn't love it because they kind of made Dante look like this emo dude.
Yeah. Okay, so that was Dante. It wasn't somebody else.
No, that's him right there. Yes, that's Dante, and they force fed him to us like a motherfucker because the PlayStation All Stars. That's the Dante they give you when that is not the Dante from the PlayStation exclusives. That's how he looks, and everyone's like, "What the hell? That's not And I get it. By the end of the game, you do get white hair. They explain everything comes to play eventually, narratively. Like once the game explains how the demons come into the human world, all that shit is explained, and you can play with Virgil in it. There's like a DLC for Virgil. So again, he looks like that just with white hair, basically. But still, because when you're doing,
is it kind of like I know you said it was like a reboot. Was it kind of like an origin story, I guess, for Dante, like going before the first game?
But it's a reboot. It's like a reboot origin story because it's starting from the beginning from this version of Dante. This is not the Dante. The origin. If you want to talk about origins, you can talk about Devil May Cry 3 is the prequel to Devil May Cry 1.
Oh, interesting.
It goes narratively. It's 3, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. You know what I mean?
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. So they pulled a Metal Gear Solid with that one.
Yeah, they did the exact same thing. It's crazy. So 3 is a prequel, and he's younger. Doesn't wear a shirt. He's very, I love that game. That game is amazing. 3 is where Marvel's Capcom took a lot of the moveset from part 3. Okay. Yeah. So Devil May Cry. Dante from. There's a lot of that version of him is from that game. So that's the version you probably know, and the version people know from PlayStation All Stars is this version. Again, I didn't hate him, but I understand the backlash because that's not the Dante we know, and it's just he even acted a little different, which was a little weird. But you get over it, and eventually, obviously, it didn't do well enough, and they just went back to made a sequel to 4 because I think it was 4, and then they did DMC, and they gave us 5. 5 was great too. 5 was also really good.
I heard 5 was really good. Yeah.
Yeah, that was with what was his name? V.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a spoiler there. I don't know if people know. That's why I don't want to say nothing. But there's the stuff there, and I don't know how much I should say just in case people do want to play 5. I don't want.
Yeah, and they might cover it in the anime too. You never know.
You're right, and then if it gets there, I don't want to spoil that too. I mean, let me put it this way: there's a lot of family drama from the beginning. So there you go.
So I guess throwing it back to you, Isaac, since you're not super familiar with DMC, but you have seen the original anime, is there anything that you're looking for with the new anime that'll be coming out in the next couple of months?
I want them to explore his backstory a bit more. Sure, they did explore him somewhat in this show, but it wasn't exactly. It was mostly in mystery, I dare argue. And now with Netflix, and most likely want at least 2 seasons. I don't think why we couldn't do that. And I will have to admit, there is one game I actually have played that he has been involved in. That is Shin Megami Tensei 3, which is making a guest appearance for some reason. I have not. I never understood that.
I do remember that. Yeah, was that? I forget which version of him was it. I think it was part 2. But I could be wrong.
I don't know which Dante it was that.
I could do it by looking at it. So if you can pull up a picture, I can tell you. But yeah, I do remember that him showing up there, and I was very excited because I never heard of that game until Dante shows up. Oh wow, is that what he looked like in the game? Oh my lord!
I think it was that. Yeah, that's the one.
Okay, that might be too. I forget now. I gotta go back and check. Was that too? Shit. Like it's been a minute.
That game is hard as it's downright bullshit.
What we
you can literally lose the tutorial because Origin is downright bullshit.
Wow, I never played it, so I would take your word for that. But
yeah, they're infamously for being a little hard.
The Shin Megami games. I will say Devil May Cry 2 is probably the easiest game I've ever played. I will.
The easiest ever?
One of the easiest, definitely the easiest Devil May Cry. Definitely the easiest Devil May Cry game. Yeah, that is his luck in part 2. Fuck. Man, it's been so long. I'm so sorry. It's been a long time since I played 2. 2, I played probably the least, even though I did beat it. I beat them all. But like 2 was the one, it was just so, I don't know. They made it too simple. And then 3, go ahead.
Oh no, you finish your thought.
And then 3 they took it back to how 1 was and amped it up. And then they just kept amping it up after.
Okay. Because I was actually going to ask, of all the looks that Dante's had, for me, it kind of like they vary a little bit, but I feel like it's been mostly the same. But if you had to pinpoint a game where it's like, this is classic Dante, where you see him the most, you would say probably like 2?
2, no. Honestly, they take that's the most popular look. I probably is 3 with the shirtless jacket look. You probably see that one the most. Even though, like, to be fair, I like looks, so I like the look of characters a lot. So like movies, I like costumes and stuff like that. So that's why I like looking at each character, like each version of Dante from each game. And all right, this is from this and this is from that. And I like the upgraded like in the graphics, you can see how different they may kind of age him up a little bit with that because he already has white hair. So it's how do you make him look older? And it's really with the beard, he has stubble. It's just very little things that make him look a little older than when he looked like he is completely clean cut in part 3. As compared to like in 1 and 2, he's also clean cut, but you can see he's a little bit more mature. Yeah. He has more clothes on. And then 4 and 5. Now 4, there's a different protagonist technically. You play through it with another character they introduce.
Virgil?
No, Virgil's his brother.
Nero,
that's what it was.
Okay.
Nero, they introduced in part 4. I think it was 4. And then you play with, he's like the main character, but you get to play with Dante as well. They kind of do that kind of thing. And then in part 5, I think, is where you get the Nero, Dante, and the thing, I think, right? Because there's no 6, right? Or am I...
No, yeah, no. Well, no, as far as I know, there's no 6.
Not yet, yeah. So 5 is, or V was, V was the third character. You got V, Nero, and Dante. And Nero's one of them. It's a whole different story. It's so funny. They look very similar. At the very least, in 5, they have different haircuts, so you can tell the difference. Whereas 4, they had similar looks completely. You're like, what the fuck? One guy wears a blue jacket, one guy wears a red. But and it's not that different from his brother, who also has white hair. It's just this whole thing. But Virgil's actually really good, to be fair. He has a katana a lot of the time. That's how you can tell. He's more closer to Sephiroth than Dante. But yes, a great series. Love that. I love Devil May Cry. It's really fun.
Isaac, before we pass over to Joel to ask him about like any kind of anticipation for the anime, did you have anything else you wanted to add aside from just exploring his origins a little bit more?
I would. I don't know if both of them, the female characters, are in the Wii games as much as they were in the series, but I would see more of the supporting cast also. And speaking of the supporting cast, those 2 ladies was just stereotypical ladies supporting characters of the late what's it called,
like the early 2000s.
Early 2000s, with the attitude and all. I'm not complaining or anything. I just thought it was funny.
Would you want them to kind of freshen them up and modernize them a bit, or do you want them to kind of still be more classical, I guess you could say?
As long as they are truthful for a game and make sense for the fans, I say go for either way.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. Well, Joel, same question for you. Is there, especially with you, maybe not so much remembering the anime, but having more experience on the game side of things, is there anything that you're looking to see in this anime coming up here?
I'm looking forward to seeing, from everything he's saying, it's going to have like I wanted to have more than 1 season because I feel like he's going to do it based on like every season will be the version of the game. So like 3, I'm like Creed is probably gonna be 1, right? And then he's gonna actually do in chronological. So 3, 1, 2, like that. Like, and we'll probably get his adaptation of those games for those in that anime series. And that's something that intrigues me a lot because then you can tell the story. It's easier to tell the story than actually going out and playing the game. And like I'm really curious how many of the characters he's going to introduce in this series. Like, will he? Probably will, because again, Lady was introduced in the game, so why not in this? So that makes sense. I just want to see where they go with it. It seems like I already like his musical choices. Like I guess I remember when he posted like because he already dropped the intro and it's gonna have Limp Bizkit or whatever. And I'm not gonna lie, when I heard that, I'm like, what year is this? How old is this guy? Because this is like when like Devil May Cry came out, or a part of my life where I was like very susceptible able to. I was in high school, so imagine everything was like I was soaking everything in. That was my music from my time period. We're only a year apart, I think, and yeah, so he gets me. So like as soon as he started playing, I'm like, yeah, that's my time period. I think I know what he's trying to do, and yeah, that's so punk rock. Yeah, that is so Devil May Cry. So I'm like, I already like where where his headspace is, and he seems to be very knowledgeable of the lore. So I'm like, whatever he wants to do, he's done a great job with Castlevania already. So I mean, if he puts the same love that he did with Castlevania into Devil May Cry, I have no real issue. So I do look forward to seeing it progress. And if there's any video game that can be an anime, it's Devil May Cry.
Yeah. It's no arguments there. It's definitely something that's been like very action packed, like a lot of adrenaline, and even as someone that's not personally played any of the games, or I think I might have played DMC for like an hour or so. I remember playing it. I don't remember why. I'm like, I don't even think I don't know. It must have been a trial, but in any case, I do remember having fun with it and feeling that kind of rush. And even just watching the anime, you still get that kind of rush from watching the action and just like all the excitement happening. So I'm definitely looking forward to it too. The fact that, this director is also taking care of Castlevania extremely well. It's gone from a game franchise I knew absolutely nothing about to something that I would like to see return, possibly in like a similar kind of like God of War fashion where you're focusing on like this big main character, whether it's like Simon or oh my goodness, now I'm forgetting all the names, but the different Castlevania protagonists.
Richter, Richter now. And then
Richter, yes.
It was what's his name? In the first couple seasons.
Trevor?
Yeah, Trevor Belmont, the Belmont clan.
Was he in a kind of a sidetrack, but was he in any of the games? Because I don't.
Trevor?
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
And another one.
Yeah, he was in 3. It's so funny. They did 3 too. That's why I'm like, maybe they go to 1 next.
Maybe the old school way you do it is just to just go in the middle and then come back.
Well, Trevor technically came before Simon. Like he was like Trevor's his Simon's grandfather, like something like that, great grandfather, just like he's Richter's, but like way down,
Yeah.
So Simon
Trevor is in Castlevania 3 and Curse of Darkness and Judgment.
What's that one? That's the PlayStation one. There was one that came out for PlayStation. I can't remember the name of that one, but
that's I guess one thing I wish. I don't know how they would do this with video game adaptations because clearly we talked about Castlevania. Love the show, like very much into like the lore of Castlevania and like the world that they're building. Have no idea like what came from what game, like who started where. Like if they could, in a way that's not interruptive, like integrate that kind of knowledge into anime, like I don't see how it would hurt, to be like, yo, this is my like 3rd time out here, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how they would naturally do it, but or even just I really like the Amazon's X-ray that they do when like if you pause it you can see like who was in this scene, the actors that were in the scene, or even if they have like a fun fact sometimes they'll share. And I wish other platforms would adopt that too, so then maybe you could have those little video game fun facts.
Yeah, that would be fun. Like little like fun facts. I like that because like that's for nerd shit. Because that's shit I look for. Cool, because I always question like, what is the Bellman? I want to know the whole list of clan members. Like, who are these people? How far back? No one really, like some people don't give a shit, but I do.
Yeah.
Like that's stuff I look at the end of the day. I'm like, all right, so when was this guy born, and why is he not in this? Oh, it's because he's not born yet. That makes sense now. Where in Devil May Cry, it's the same thing. It's like, all right, who's this? When is this? How is this? What about Sparta? Sparta's their dad. So it's like, how's that explain that? I look forward to seeing that and explaining their half demon relationship and exploring all that extra shit that they do in the games. It's been a while, so I'm a little rusty, but it's great.
Yeah. And I guess to kind of slowly close things out, I don't know if y'all have any more questions y'all want to ask the group or anything like that. But for me, looking back at the original anime, is there anything, and this is like, based on varying degrees of memory, but is there anything from the original anime that you feel like it did so well or was so interesting, or like whatever the case might be that you want to see it carry over to the new anime that we'll get this year?
I don't remember it well enough to know what I wanted taken.
Mm-hmm.
I just know that it took a lot from at least aesthetically, it took a lot from the first one. So
Yeah.
like, it's okay to. I think now because you know the story you're telling, and there's a lot more lore to tell. Before they were just telling what they were telling, and they probably weren't paying attention to the rest. You can lay Easter eggs down for stuff down the line because you already know, at least in the games, where they're going. So you can definitely connect, and people can, like, fans of the series can go, oh, I know that. They can look forward to hopefully getting to season 3 when they actually get to it. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. That's cool for me. So you can set up stuff for the future. Because that's what comic book stuff does now. So you'll set up stuff for later, and only comic nerds really know. But it's fun little things for us, so that when we get there, it's a payoff. And I think now, because Devil May Cry's gone on 5 games now, there's enough lore there, and there's been I think there's been some novels. Again, I don't know if they're canon or anything, but I know there've been some books written and stuff. But I don't know how you would translate that series to book. Like comic books maybe, but book, that's so much action that's involved with that. And so
that'll be interesting. Definitely have to get into your like 3-star, 4-star, 5-star SAT words with that to describe what's going on with the action.
The Rebellion, is that called? I think it's called the Rebellion. Yeah, a lot of cool names for these weapons. Let me tell you something. The weapons in these games are pretty damn really good. And I remember 3 being pretty basic. I'm not 3, 2. 2 was very like man with their weapons. Like compared to 1 and like especially 3. 3 was like they gave you like 5 different weapons. Like you get the Ifrit gauntlets, those are cool, and the guitar, which is also an axe, and has lightning. And like this is crazy. I think in the last game you could use it was like I forget what it was, but it was another type of hybrid weapon. I think was it this motorcycle? Something. I think you used something as a weapon that was like completely out of nowhere. But that's another thing. He has a cool weapon set. So you get to use your pistols. You can use a shotgun. He has his sword. Yeah, and he has all those other demon weapons, which are very fun after you beat those bosses specifically. Yeah, that's always fun. That game's cool.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see. I guess how much of his moveset we'll get to explore. Especially this is like a Origins. I feel like we might get like a sprinkling here and there, and then maybe season 2 they really dig into things.
That's fair. Because imagine 3 now. I'm not. You know what's funny about 2? I was talking shit about 2, but I do like their demon form a lot. It's weird. You think it would be consistent? No, almost every game his demon form looks different, and I can't tell you why. I don't even know if there's more behind it. I love his look in part 2. I didn't love the game itself, but the demon form had one of the cooler looks, which was completely opposite because in 3. Because 3 was a great game, but that demon. Once he's double trigger, once he hits a double trigger, you turn into like a demon, and every game I swear looks different. But that's something too, like the adaptation of the double trigger, and does he change with every season like the games do? I wonder.
Would you want something like that, or you want them to be more consistent?
If they can explain it, sure. If they don't, they're gonna explain it and ignore that, they're just gonna do it just to do it, then no. Please give me at least some type of understanding of why the fuck it keeps changing. Yeah, because that's the one thing that I realized. Every game his demon form looks different, and I'm like, why does it keep doing that? Why does it just look the same every time? I don't get it, but we'll see. And I think the third one's my least favorite look, not gonna lie, which is weird because that's probably the one we're gonna see in this new one. If he sticks to his guns and does things correctly, that's probably what it should look like. But we'll see. I don't know. I have to see the trailer again. It's been a minute.
Seeing the original anime, is there anything that you feel like it did particularly well that you want to see it kind of brought into the new anime in some kind of way, like any elements at all?
I'm open for changes and all that. Yes, it's not easy to answer since I haven't played the games.
Okay.
Yeah, the games are great. If you guys have a chance to ever play them, please do. Do yourselves a favor and play them. I'm sure they have to remaster them at some point, especially the first 3,
Yeah.
The fourth and fifth ones are basically modernized enough. Even though I wouldn't be surprised if they get remastered, but like 1, 2, and 3 could definitely go for like a polishing. I could definitely see that being something that should get an upgrade visually, at least.
What's been happening with a lot of these video game adaptations in the past few years, or at least, I feel like executives are catching on, is whenever they have an adaptation, like the property gets a huge boost in interest and people want to like get into it, play whatever games are available. So it could be possible that maybe they do a collection around April of like the first 3 games remastered or whatever it might be remade, because there's that interest that's built back up again around the franchise.
I could see that primarily. Yeah, because they're doing Onimusha now, part 2. remaster or whatever, or not. Like they're just making it look prettier. They're not really.
Yeah.
They're not doing a remake or whatever. So I'm like, I could see that happening. You're right. I could see it definitely happening. That would be cool if the first three get a nice little remaster and you can go out there and play the games and get that out of your system because they're really fun games.
Yeah, I'll have to put on my list. My list, it continues to grow every year, but I'm fighting back. I'm slowly fighting back every year too. I guess my last little bonus question for you all, since Devil May Cry is a Capcom franchise, would you want to see an Easter egg from any particular Capcom series?
Particularly, not one in particular, but like I do, like I know the last game had a Mega Man Easter egg. You could, like, I think Nero was able to use it because he has that hand, right, the robot hand, so he could switch them out all the time. So one of his things was the Mega Buster. So I'm like, oh, that's fucking cool. Little things like that are cool. Like I don't know if this game will do that, but I could see them. Like he seems to have that in his bag because he did that. What was it called? Laserhawk.
Oh yeah, Captain Laserhawk. I was about to say, was that the same dude? Yeah, I can see him doing it then.
So yeah, he did a lot of Easter. He used a lot more properties in the same thing there.
Yeah,
but I could see him definitely dropping a Mega Man thing here, a Resident Evil thing here. You know, Capcom has a very big sort of Street Fighter.
Yeah, it would be timely to do something Monster Hunter too.
I was just gonna say that I like the demon weapons that they don't use or some other demons use or whatever. The replicas of weapons that is in the Monster Hunter just out of sheer fun.
I can see that. Or Darkstalkers, man, bring Darkstalkers back. If there's nothing better than Devil May Cry X Darkstalkers would be amazing.
I'm not familiar. What is Darkstalkers?
Jamie, where's the button? I'm muting her. I mean, I can't mute her. Mute her, Isaac.
It's a fighting game.
It's a monster fighting game.
A monster fighting game. So is Godzilla in there? Or is it just other monsters?
That's a kaiju. We're talking like universal monster. Oh my god. You ever heard of Morgan?
Maybe.
You play Marvel's Capcom, right?
No.
Oh my god. Mute her. Block her now. That's crazy.
I do want to get the collection. They actually have it up on the Nintendo store. So I'm like, maybe I'll go get it physically and I'll do that.
Isaac, can you do me a favor? Can you pull up like a picture or something from Darkstalkers? Because honestly, if
I'm searching for a good one.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a game that kind of got put in the shelf. There was like, this is basically like two or three of them. They're not that different from each other. There's like a little bit of an expansion from 1 to 3, but they never kind of went past a certain point and they kind of got put in the shelf and never got released again. And they once in a while they'll get teased, but you'll never see. There has not been a new Darkstalker since the 90s. Like, you know what I mean? Like I think it's been a very long time. It's a very cool looking series. It's very goofy in its own right, but it's very cool. I mean, yeah, see, that's Morgan.
Oh, I have seen her before.
She is one of
I feel like isn't she in like Street Fighter or something?
She has probably been in, at least her costume has definitely been in Street Fighter.
Okay.
She's been in a whole bunch of fighting games. She's definitely the character they use the most when they have Darkstalker representation. She's like Miss Darkstalker. But there's a lot of different characters. Like there's Dimitri, who's the vampire, and Frank, who's the monster, and then you have John Talbot, the werewolf. I mean, there's a lot of cool looking ones too. They have very cool looking designs, and it's just unfortunate like that series kind of always gets the back burner. So if that gets some type of love in Devil May Cry, which the whole demon thing just makes sense, that would be awesome. That would be really cool if you could throw in some Darkstalker love. I'll take
that does sound interesting. That does sound like a good opportunity. Kind of, show some love there.
I would love that.
I like that. All right. Well, does anybody have anything else they kind of want to bring to the panel, or just something else they want to talk about with the potential of the new anime, or just thoughts on the old anime, or even something about the games?
Not what I can think of.
That was probably enough for me. I mean, I did talk enough. Sorry about that.
Oh no, you're fine. We were happy to have a Devil May Cry expert here on hand.
Yeah. As expert as I can be was off the top of my head. But yeah, it's a fun franchise. So I'm very excited. When I heard they were doing an anime, I was super psyched. I was hoping it didn't go away because I think they announced the Diablo one too at one point, and that kind of disappeared.
Oh.
Yeah, they also announced, but that's apparently in production, a Magic the Gathering one, which
Oh yeah, that looks cool.
Interesting.
That looks cool. But like Adi's been touching a lot of stuff recently, and
Yeah.
I like that he got Castlevania. Obviously, he's shown that he can do things. His company can do right by it, and like once he told me doing Devil May Cry, and he seems to be really digging that. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, I hope he does. I'm very curious what the next IP he gets his hands on, because he does good work. So I can't I can't complain.
If he needs some ideas, I got you.
Dude, you want IPs for him to touch? Like, what you got one in mind? Give me one.
So this one has been, I say, a tortured history. Halo.
Oh God.
If we could get something for Halo, like that would be great. Because like, there has been like Halo animations, but it's been a while, similar to Devil May Cry. So to have something new where Master Chief is not showing his ass would be great. That would be awesome. Although I will say I was a little bit sad about them canceling the live action show after season 2, because I feel like season 2, although it wasn't like everything I've ever wanted, it was a much better season than season 1.
I agree.
And I wish they could have built off that, but that's maybe we'll see. There's rumors that Christopher Nolan wants to do something with Halo, so I'm like, hey, that would be cool.
Crazy. Yeah, I mean, it's doable. Like it had very good bright spots.
Yeah, yes it did. Yes it did.
Even season 1, season 2, putting together, it wasn't perfect, but they had some really good bright spots, and there was a lot of potential there. And I'm not a big Halo guy. I left that up to y'all to what's accurate, what's not accurate. Like I'm just watching it as a third party. I played the multiplayer Halo at best. So for me, it was all like, as long as it's cool, I like what I'm watching. That's why to me part 1 suffered, because there was a lot of stuff that was like more on the talking side, which was fine. But I don't know what the fuck I'm listening to a lot of times. I don't know the lore, and it should
even then some of the things were ridiculous.
And I think and it shouldn't matter. Obviously, you should still be able to connect with the audience without knowing the lore. But like, as someone that doesn't, I figured like this is how I'll get to learn. And like, did I really, after watching season 1, like, did I really care what that story was about? Because I heard a lot about it, and like this I didn't seem interested in learning more. But season 2, definitely enough narrative.
Yes.
And visually, season 1 didn't do a bad job. But Adi doing it would be weird, because I don't know if that's his. He seems to like the rejects more often than not.
I mean, at this point, Halo is very rejected.
I don't know. Halo's still probably the Xbox #1 glory boy.
It is. It's very complicated right now with Halo. So I mean, complicated. I feel like it could be something. It could be something.
You know what? He might be. I don't want to speak for him. Obviously, I don't know him like that. Gears. That might be up his. Even though I think Netflix is attached to do something Gears related anyway. I don't think he's attached to it, but if it was animated, I could definitely see him touching Gears and definitely doing something with that. That seems more up his alley. And those games I do like. I do like the Gears game.
Yeah, I need to go back and play some before the E-Day comes out. Hopefully this year. Fingers crossed. I don't know, but hopefully.
Well, they keep saying they're going to come out with like something that the old originals will show up on PlayStation. If that's the case, I will.
Yeah, I'm like, at this point, I don't know. This might become a gaming podcast. I don't want to get too into it. But y'all, hey
man, the Devil May Cry.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us in this conversation talking about Devil May Cry, both the new and the old. Is there anything that you would like the people to support, Joel, or anywhere that they can find you on the internet?
Yeah, I have a pod, Unhealthy Unstable. We do on Wednesdays. It's a very generic geek pod. We talk movies, games.
Send me the link and I put it in the description.
You got it. You'll do that. Unhealthy Unstable on Netflix and Twitter and Instagram.
I started thinking about it. I was like, what?
I don't know what I'm talking about. But you can also find me on Instagram and Twitter on Joel_J27 if you care. If not, don't worry about it. I won't miss you. But yeah, I think that sometimes we talk sports too, but usually we separate it so it's not like, oh, here's some sports with your geek stuff. Some people don't like that, so we try to separate the two. But I do like talking sports sometimes, especially basketball.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Well, everybody, be sure to check out the link in the description below for more of Joel and his vast knowledge on the games, the movies, the TV shows, all of that stuff. Isaac, where can the people find and support support you outside of course, the Amateur Otaku?
Well, you can find me over at Blue Sky at Emblemania, and you can find me outside of this. I'm currently working on some other projects that hopefully is going to be finished soon.
Can we get a little tease as to what that might be? A little sneak peek for the viewers?
I at this point, no, because I don't know when it's gonna be finished.
Ooh, okay, locking it down. I like it. Y'all have to stay tuned to find out what Isaac is working on. But yeah, as for me, you guys can find me all things gaming at swiper_prime. And then I've also got a video essay channel I'm trying to get off the ground. It's called Swiper Shampoo. Actually, a reference to Samurai Shampoo, you know. So yeah, I did
a theme song now.
Say what?
You need a theme song to go.
You know, I've been thinking about it. I'm like, I need to find if anybody does like jazz music, composes jazz. I really like jazz, man.
Okay,
jazz is great. Hit me up. But yeah, I just dropped a video on Valentine's Day called Thirst of the Kingdom, where we're ranking the Tears of the Kingdom characters by attractiveness. It was very fun. It was very interesting.
She caught me by surprise because
I didn't tell anybody what I was doing before.
she asked me about, hey, do you want to be on the Ouija ranking these Tears of the Kingdom characters? And I mean, sure. Then right before we started recording, she says, we are going to rank them this means, and I missed.
Yeah, it's like, by the way, not your typical ranking. It's a little different, but I feel like everybody was a great sport, and I think the video turned out great. So be sure to check that out. Support everybody that's part of that. And
I was afraid of most people there, so
no. See, I actually cut this. I had to cut so much out because I had like 3 hours of footage, and I wanted a 30-minute video. So obviously, you know, there's a lot of things that I could release from that. But what I will say, if anybody happens to go over there to watch the video, be nice to the people that are ranking. Like, they're not trying to be mean or anything, or even if it is a little mean, they're fake characters, you know, they're not real. They're not real people. So
their feelings won't get hurt.
Yeah. Don't be too hurt about it. If you're hurt, make your own rankings, send it to us so that way, you know, you can have your opinion out there. Be like, this is the de facto list. But
yeah, I'm curious now.
It was a fun video.
I mean, you could always do a part 2, Jamie.
See, what would I even do for that? I don't know. We'll have to see.
I mean, you have the footage for it.
Oh, you mean like that? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'll do like some deleted scenes. Post that somewhere, but
sure,
it was fun. But yeah, I appreciate you all being here. This has been a great convo. Looking forward to hopefully meeting back here again to talk about the anime, the new anime once it officially releases. But until then, hopefully you guys continue to keep reading manga and keep watching anime. Until next time.
Peace.